Good morning and welcome back to Trade Talks. I'm your host, Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me is Frank Chapparo. He's the financial reporter over at Business Insider. Frank, thank you very much for joining us at MarketSite today. You made a lot of waves last week with the list that you came out with. So it was a piece that you put out in Business Insider Prime, ranking top traders, investors, and technologists pioneering cryptocurrency on Wall Street. So I have a bunch of questions for you here. Tell us about your methodology and some of the results that you can list for us.
Yeah, sure. So to be sure, right, it wasn't extremely technical, right? Basically, what we saw at the beginning of the year was a lot of stuff happening on the market structure and trading side and asset management side of the space. And so we wanted to highlight a lot of the work that was going on. You think about the ETFs, futures that launched last year. We wanted to find out who the people were behind those initiatives and projects and find them, talk to them, figure out what the latest was, you know, after this sort of bear market has really taken hold, and see what they're working on now and the stories behind a lot of the projects we've seen over the past couple months.
Who were the couple of people that made the list, and what did they do to land them on the list that really stuck out to you?
Yeah, so again, you know, looking at who built CME's Bitcoin futures, going out and finding who they were, talking to them, hearing how it really all rolled out. Taking in recommendations from folks. You know, there were many folks on the list who I would talk to my contacts and sources and be like, who should be on this? Who are the people that are really making a difference at firms like, you know, Jump Trading, right? Or CME or a Nasdaq, and who's really, you know, maybe not the front man, right? But the one that's really working on something interesting. And it runs the gamut, right? From indexes at ICE or ETFs at Van Eck or at Coinbase. You know, you have a guy like Adam White who's really building out their institutional grade exchange to be sort of on par with what we see at Nasdaq or New York Stock Exchange.
Well, it's always interesting when I have someone from media come on and join me on the show, and we like to look at different challenges and opportunities and trends that we're seeing within the industry. I like covering cryptocurrency in terms of market structure because it is in its infancy, and to me, it's not a one-size-fits model all type of market structure. You can't apply what's happening in equities to what's going to happen in the cryptocurrency markets. Is that a theme that you have seen during your research?
I think what's happening right now is there are a lot of questions hanging up in the air about what is the best method of execution. Where's the bid? The spreads are crazy. And people across Wall Street and in tech are trying to figure out the answers to those questions and the best technologies that can address those issues. Regulation is another problem, right? You know, when you think about cryptocurrency exchanges, should they subscribe to the regulations that a money transmitter would, or that a equities exchange would, or that should they be regulating the coins and tokens listed on their platforms as securities or as property? And a lot of these questions are kind of still being figured out, and that's playing into the market structure and playing into who these folks are hiring and the technology that they're building out.
All right, and so what do you think about cryptocurrency or digital assets in general? Do you think that this is a class that's here to stay?
I think the folks on the list certainly do, right? Now, the big question is what happens next, right? Is there going to be an ETF? And from the folks I talked to on my list, it's kind of a little divided. It might be 2018, 2019, but that really is the holy grail, right? You know, when we think about when gold got its ETF, you know, it really unleashed a huge price upswing because it allowed a lot of those.
It made it accessible.
It made it accessible to retail investors, and that's the problem right now is there's no on-ramps. There's no on-ramps for regular folks who, you know, don't necessarily want to get in on the nitty-gritty of understanding what the blockchain technology is, but they want to, you know, access this. And even JP Morgan said at least 1% of your assets makes sense to be in this space. And so those on-ramps are being built. It's funny, one of the folks on the list, they're building a sort of robo-advisor type thing for crypto, and it's in stealth mode right now, and it's actually called on-ramp, which is interesting. But underpinning everything, right, is the fact that despite the price decline, right, all this is still going on in the background. They're still rolling out new projects. They're still excited. So as far as the future, going back to your original question, despite sort of Bitcoin being down 60%, I think, from all-time highs, they're still looking to get the ETF off the ground. They're still looking to roll out trading platforms. They're still looking to hire, especially like Kraken and Coinbase, looking to add, I think between the two of them, another 1,000 to their headcount.
Oh, wow.
So I think at the end of the day, bottom line, there's a future for this.
I think the investing community also, they're so used to on-demand trading in mature markets like fixed income,
Yeah.
like FX, like the equity market, for example, and they expect digital assets just to come on board and have that market structure and trading capability in place. But think about it, fixed income and the equity market, it's taken decades and years
Exactly.
for it to evolve, so you can't just plug and play that structure into crypto assets. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of model.
And I think that's exactly right. And bouncing off that is the fact that we have seen a lot of things roll out fast. Some people would say even too fast. One of the folks I talked to on the list was sort of a little perturbed by the fact that how fast futures rolled out and whether or not we were ready for them, or whether or not the market was ready for them. So that's right. We're not there yet, but at least across this list that we put out, these folks are looking to get
us there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Frank, for joining us at
Thank you.
MarketSite. Traders, thank you for joining me throughout the day. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.